You better than me. You better than me. You better than me.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to season 2 of the You Better Than Me podcast. We are back at it again. I got my girl Fallon here with me, and we are extremely excited to be here with the people. I hope everyone's been doing okay. Fallon, you been good?
Life done been life, and I'll say that, but we
Life
here.
has been lifing. We here.
We are here.
So I know our last episode, we were just so hyped that we were able to finish out a season, and we are even more excited that we're able to start a new season with everyone. We got some really good topics coming along this season, and we're just happy that you're able to join us and you're still rocking with us. We hope everyone had a good little break while we were away. Fallon, I know you done had something exciting going on.
It's been a lot going on. Like, this has been a season of change, as they say, and not only has different chapters been opening and closing, but it's like your girl is about to be a whole wife within this beep, beep, beep.
Come on, I was married now. I'm about to be married
Right?
now. That's exciting.
It is exciting. It's exciting. It's scary. It's like fun. It's just like so many different feelings, so much just all at one time that it's like, damn, this is like real life. When you reflect on like all the things that we've talked about and just like life's ups and downs, and like how season 1 we talked about all the different growing pains, it's just really like, it's just crazy. Like, this is us. We are in the moment. Like, all the things we talked about, all the things that we had to grow through and go through and go to and all that good jazz. Like, we over here living some dreams.
That's what's up. So, speaking about your wedding process, is there any one thing that you are more excited about than anything else?
I feel like I'm just excited for it to be over and like get to kiss him in the mouth and like be like, all right, give me my tacos and like leave. Like, that's what I'm most excited about. I'm just on some last name me. Like,
Okay.
the process is a lot. I feel like we're gonna have to have a whole episode just talking about the process. Like, it's a lot. Like, just the big change of it, like going through all the emotions and just the different emotions that go through it, dealing with how people are dealing, and just like the change. Like, your girl been having to hype herself up a lot. Like, it's been a lot that I've had to kind of figure out ways to just pump myself up. And my fiance has been really good about speaking life into me during this time and all of that. But wedding planning is hard.
Girl, I'm sure it is. And I mean, it's cool to be your number one hype man for yourself. And then it's also cool to have a cheerleader in the background saying, hey, you can do it. And just to know that, you're working towards a common goal. So I think that's dope.
Yes. And you've been doing your thing too, girl.
I mean, I've been trying to do a little something. So I always tell people I really don't get excited. But guys, I started a new job. So I'm very, very excited. I will say during this entire process, I've had to hype myself up several times while working at my old job. Like, this is only temporary. When is your time? You really gonna rock out. And y'all, my time came. And so like I said, I don't really get excited, but I'm very happy to welcome something brand new because I have been working at my previous company for quite a bit. I honestly don't believe in working at jobs for longer than 2 years. And it had been over 2 years and I was getting pretty anxious. So I'll use the word excited. I'm very excited to be starting something different. So
You're
yes.
so really excited.
Yes, so excited. Yes.
But I feel like everybody's been kind of having like ups and downs and seasons of change lately. Like, it's not just us. I feel like the listeners too. Just conversations with my girlfriends and like the homies. Like, everybody has kind of been having like a big period of change. And if it's not Mercury being up in microwave and all of that, retrograding and all of these great things, just kind of throwing a hiccup in everybody's everyday plans, like, people been going through it. And
no, they have.
Shoot, I feel like it's been a continuous 2 years of kind of going through it. And honestly, if we didn't have each other or like something going on, like, I don't know how people would have made it. Like, I feel bad if people didn't have that background voice, even if it's in your own head, like something to keep you going. Because stuff it's been wild.
I feel like the one thing that brings, and not just one, there are plenty of things that bring people together, but one of the main things that brings people together is music. And music has been like an official hype man, especially during the pandemic, like when they were doing those live concerts. That
Oh
just helped
yeah,
you kind of get past everything that was going on, because everybody knows, like, once the pandemic hit, it was rough. It was like just death after death, like different things going on. But the music really brought people together. And so for me, when I'm having a bad day, the first thing I try to do is turn on some music that would just get my mind right, get me in a better attitude. I know that, like, this might sound crazy, but I'm still single. But when I need to hype myself up when it's dealing with a guy, I have to listen to a little bit of Sade. Like, it just puts me in like a calm mood, and I just don't go
Sade.
crazy. I know it
That's
does.
your crush on me music.
It's zen. It's zen. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it just makes me feel like it's gonna be better. It's like your auntie like singing you a song, like, girl, it's gonna be okay. But then after that, I can turn on to Beyonce. And the Homecoming album is one of my favorite albums because it has so much of Beyonce's music on it. It's also an album I can just listen to from the start to the end. It's a driving album, and it's just one of those things that really, really gets me hyped up. So music does it for me.
I think music is one of those things that I turn to also. And your girl Beyonce, it has always kind of been one for like the anthems, even with the Destiny
Yes,
Child days, just things to kind of hype you up and get you feeling like yourself or feeling like a better version of yourself, giving you the Sasha Fierce,
that's for
giving you the,
sure.
the alter ego
That's for
feelings.
sure.
So yeah, I do agree. And music during the pandemic has been kind of keeping us steadfast, even with the little verses and all of that. Like I know it's kind of getting played out now, but music is still kind of like everybody's background and
Hmm.
backbone. It's like the soundtrack of what we've been having going on. And just all these things are always gonna have some little bit of music attached to it.
I agree. Another way I hype myself up is the journal that I excuse me, not the journal, but the calendar that I currently use. At the start of each month, it asks you to write down a few affirmations. So when I'm feeling however I'm feeling, I'll go back and I'll read those affirmations that I wrote for the month and just like continue to say those until I actually start to feel it. I know it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it does really start helping me out. And I feel like that leads into how you talk to yourself. So I'm making sure that I'm affirming myself and I'm having more positive self talk.
I find that we have a lot of like real life conversations and like keeping it 100 and keeping it gangster self talk and like trying to really be cognizant of how I talk to myself has been like a struggle. It's always been a struggle. It's probably been something that I struggle with more so in my 20s and early 30s. But I feel like just how you talk to yourself and like the things that you think or tell yourself are really play a big part in it. And I done been hard on myself. I'm sure people can maybe agree or feel like they've been there where you've been like, dang, today's trash. I feel trash today, or like I ain't winning. Like the self talk is important. How do you change your own personal narrative?
Um, Changing my personal narrative. That is that's kind of like a deep question, I would say. I
Get deep,
think
Kristen. Get deep, girl.
I think sometimes, because when you're in a space where you have a lot of negative self-talk, it could be involving a relationship or jobs or whatever. Sometimes you have to lean on your friends to like remind you who you are. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes somebody got to remind you who the F you are. So for me, on my birthday, one thing that I had my friends do, I had them go around the table and just speak positive affirmations to me. And I recorded each of them because I'm like, there are going to be days when I'm going to feel down, or I may beat myself up, or I may not have the best self talk to myself. I'm going to lean on those videos and remind myself of who I am. There's also like one friend in particular, when I'm having a bad day, she'll always remind me, girl, you did this, you did this, you did this. And it's just like, we don't celebrate the small things all the time like we should. And so for me, just having somebody to lean on, that is what helps me change that entire narrative of myself. again, the affirmations are a big part, but sometimes when you hear people tell you things about yourself, you can really start feeling like, man, you're right. And sometimes people will say things to you that you have never even thought about
Yeah.
yourself, like in a positive manner. You like, you really think that way of me? Like, I remember one of my cousins calling me, she's probably listening, calling me selfish, and she did it a lot. And I'm like, you can say I'm selfish, but I'm pretty particular. And I remember telling a friend about this particular cousin calling me selfish. And my friend was like, that's so weird because I do not see that in you. She was like, every time I'm around you, I'm at your house, you're extremely, like, you're giving me something, you asking me if I need something. And that positive self-talk from my friend was like, somebody can see you one way, but that doesn't mean that that's all of you. You know what I mean? So just having that allowed me to kind of change some things in my mind, because you hear somebody call you selfish, you thinking, oh my gosh, am I selfish? But then you realize with other people, that may not even be the way it is. It's like, oh, I'm not selfish.
Shit,
So,
is being selfish bad?
well,
I
see, that's
mean,
another thing. That's a good
like
topic. It's
that's
not.
preservation. That's like self-preservation. Sometimes you got to be selfish with your time. You got to be selfish with your energy. Shit, some people think that having boundaries can be selfish. Like, it's
No, you are
selfish.
so right. And I think that sometimes as we get older, like me just navigating the dating world, sometimes you have to choose yourself. Like when you see things aren't working out, you got to choose yourself and then lean on that positive self-talk to just be like, okay, this is what it is, but I'm not necessarily being selfish. I'm just making a choice to choose me.
I feel like I saw a tweet or something that was basically saying like I forgive myself for all the times that I told myself I wasn't good enough just
Mm-hmm.
because somebody else wasn't able to see it, to see like
Yeah.
the good in me or whatever. And that's real. I feel like so many times we can like attribute what could have been wrong. Like I feel like
Right.
that narrative in your mind, you can kind of like puppet master it so much that instead of seeing like reality or like what's going on behind the scenes, that you putting all these fingers directions pointing at yourself. And that's why I think the self-talk, the negative self-talk is like so just toxic. That's like one of the worst public enemy number ones to yourself. Like you can make yourself feel terrible. It ain't always like outside factors. A lot of times it's you doing it to yourself. Like,
Yeah. I would say 90% of the time is you like, I don't know if you heard of the singer Yeba. Is it Yeba Smith?
yeah, the one
So
with the
she has, so yeah, so that song really hits deep, because for me, it's not so much of like negative self-talk where I'm like, girl, you ugly, you this. But for me, like if I'm not,
why you
when I
sound like
don't
the color
get,
purple?
I mean, put me in a movie and then a remake. But because they're gonna remake it. But for me, in that song, she speaks about like, and all the times you weren't chosen. I'm just like,
Then you
man,
want to
that's what I
sing.
suffer
You want
with.
to use your real singing voice after I didn't use my
Oh, I'm
falsetto.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm
Anyways,
sorry, friend.
continue.
But when she
Continue.
says it about being chosen, that is my number one negative self-talk. Feeling like I wasn't chosen for certain things. Like for me, even looking for a job, I have been looking for a job for a while. And it's like, everybody getting jobs before me. Like I'm not chosen. In a relationship, I'm not chosen. So that has been my number one biggest negative self-talk. But that song right there, it just does something to me. Even with that, like leaning on my friends again, like, girl.
But just think of the stuff that you could have been chosen for that could have fucking just exploded in your face or been the
Girl,
worst
a
situation ever.
lot of it,
Like
all of
there
it.
are plenty opportunities that I feel like, oh, okay, it's better to have been chosen than not. But what you got chose for is a bunch of crap.
I
Like,
agree.
child, it's been so many dodge bullets and protection. I'm sure about every little job that you didn't get, every
You are so
interview that
right.
didn't call you back, every situation and situationship that didn't work out. Like just the idea of being chosen, just because people are quote unquote chosen for something does not mean that what they have been chosen for is they divine assignment.
Look at my friend with the positive self-talk from me. Look at me leaning on her. You right.
Right. Because no, I mean, it's a lot of like outside looking in stuff when it comes
No, it
to things
is.
like that. Like, why not me? Why not me? I feel like I had it
Mm-hmm.
very bad with that why not me, not realizing that my whole because is like right around the corner. Like
Right.
it's like the job situation. Like
Yep.
I can remember you saying, "Oh, I've applied, I've done this, I'm so tired of doing this, blah 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 blah."
Girl.
But it's like it wasn't gonna happen until it was supposed to.
Right.
Like it just wasn't.
No, you're right. And that's one of the things that I said at my job. Like, it's just my time. So you think about the positive, reinforcements that you're giving yourself. Like, girl, you gonna do this. Like, you also got to put the timing into it as well. Like, it may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but it's definitely gonna happen. You really gotta like be so positive on that it's gonna happen.
And keep your cup filled with other stuff until it do.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, even if it's not you leading the conference, okay, I got a speaking role. You better throw that on your resume and let that be something that's going to guide you to your next position. Or even if it's like, okay, this situation didn't work out, but I at least learned XYZ. I know I don't like this. So now I know in my next situation, this is something I'm not going to deal with. Like, try to take those L's and change the narrative on them. Like, reframe the way that you're looking at stuff. Reframe how the missed opportunity or the blocked whatever, everything that's getting blocked ain't no blessing, I don't think. Like, some of these things that's getting blocked, I think, like, God, the universe out here blocking burdens a lot of times.
Girl,
So
I think you're right.
I wouldn't even, and of course, easier said than done. Like, we are all works in progress. We are all sitting up here trying to better ourselves. But, I think the first step is knowing that, hey, I got to do the work. And just the fact that we're acknowledging that, you know what, sometimes I say some real effed up stuff to myself. Like, I'm aware. The first step is awareness. I could literally be out here just thinking that what I'm doing is right, like just the awareness and like being able to stop yourself mid-sentence and try to change it. Just stop it. Like, okay, you know what? I'm over here. I'm doing this, making myself feel bad right now. Like, this is, I'm dwelling on my woe is me moment right now. Like, change the narrative. Press pause, rewind, do whatever you got to do to like change how you're thinking.
I feel like my biggest positive self-talk has been, and this happened years ago. You know how people be like, "Oh, I'm broke." I do not even use that word. I'm like, child, I ain't broke. Like, when people say they broke, I'd be like, well, get away from me, because I don't do broke. Like, that is a narrative that I would change quickly. I've changed it quickly for myself, but I would quickly change it for somebody else. Like, do not call yourself broke around me. You might not have it right now, but we not broke. Like, I'm definitely not broke.
That's another one I can tap myself for, because that old spirit of lack be whispering real loud, real loud. And honestly, even the times where it may have felt like you didn't have enough, it rebounded. Like, I can think of all the rebounds and just the reflection moments where it's like, well, damn, I didn't, like, I'm working 3 jobs. What am I doing? Like, it rebounds. It always changes. The trajectory always changes. It's just a matter of giving yourself the grace to get to it. Remind me to slap myself every time I say I'm broke, though, because I do be feeling like I be like, oh, I ain't got no money. I'm
broke. If I hear you say that, I'm definitely gonna change. I haven't heard you say that in all the time that we've spoken. I never heard you say that.
Child. Well, I must be saying it to myself.
You got, look, take it out your mind. One of my friends, she puts on everything. And she says it too. She's like, I went to the store and I picked this up because I'm rich. And when you rich, you buy what you want. Yeah. And, on paper, she may not be rich, but in her mind, she is rich, and she says it all the time. And I feel like a lot of times about changing this negative narrative to a positive narrative, we're calling those things to us. So that's why I was like,
DJ Khaled,
I'm not saying I'm broke. Like, I'm rich. I got this. I'm doing this,
I mean, well, you are kind of rich. I mean, you be doing it. You gotta.
I'm not rich, but I'm not broke.
Yes, exactly. You gotta like speak that talk and like live it. Like, you don't carry yourself like no broke beast, so you're not one.
Right. But you know what? I think that when we're speaking about this, it takes us to a different topic just a little bit, because I was just having a conversation with my friend about having a lack mindset. And I feel like in our community, that's something that is kind of prevalent. You may grow up in a certain area, be from a certain type of family, whatever. But one thing about it is like, I don't have a lack mindset. And I'm like, sometimes that's why we can't elevate to where we need to be, because people still only see them in this one little area, especially in my community. We were just speaking about, in the Southeast DC area, there's so many things that is out here for people to take advantage of,
Yeah.
schooling, people giving away money so people can better themselves. But it's like, are you using it? And some
Yeah.
people will just say, I can't because I don't do this. I don't do this. Like, you got to change your mindset. And that's the first thing that happened when it comes to the jobs. Like back in the day when I was working like a little Rudy Poot job, I was just like, I started listening to my Leak Till. And I was like, dang, the first thing about it is really believing that you can have it. Like when you start believing that you can have it, those things start coming to you. And I'm like, I changed my whole mindset, was like,
Yeah.
I can get a job. And so this time around, I think it was just because when you're in a bad work environment, that kind of plays with your psyche, and you just lose, you lose yourself just a little bit. But I'm like, once you change your mindset and you're like, you know what, it's happening. I can do it. They can do it. I can do it. It's going to happen for me.
You gotta have
lose that like mindset.
The mentality. You gotta have the flex of a mediocre white man.
You're right.
Approach life as if everything is your portion. Approach life as every opportunity is yours for the getting, even if you're not qualified.
Like your name, Brad.
Right. Just out there, do it. Be out there operating like Brad. Brad don't care if
Brad Witherspoon.
Witherspoon is black now. We're not gonna give Brad.
No.
John Witherspoon. Hello, like that's black.
Okay.
I'll give Farfin Nugan or something. We'll give him a name like that. But like, certain people don't not apply just because they don't have every check on the box. Some people are still throwing their names out there. Some people are still putting their hat in the ring just because they feel like they deserve it.
Like that used to be me, not applying because I didn't meet one of the boxes, but not no more.
I mean, there are people in positions that are very not so qualified, and what are they doing? Learning on the go. They're picking up the manual the same way you would be doing and figuring it out. So why not get that opportunity the same way as everybody else is out here doing it? Like, don't sell yourself short. That's the main thing. Even if it's like relationships or friendships, dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, like, don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I agree.
You want to take a pause to pay this church's money right now? Should we do that?
We're going to have to, because they brought us back for another season.
Okay, you got to keep that collection plate flowing.
Do you have a business, brand, or even a creative idea? Pyro Media Network can help you design a strategy to make your brand impactful. Visit www.pyromedianetwork.com today to schedule a free consultation. Pyro Media Network, next level media.
What's the situation you feel like you've sold yourself short on, but now you can reflect on it and be like, Kristin, what the hell were you thinking? You were that be at that moment.
When did I sell myself short? I don't know.
I can think of like a lot of opportunities, probably like high school or college. I feel like a lot of times I maybe didn't want to speak out loud, or I didn't want to have to put myself on the main stage because I didn't want people looking at me or hearing what I had to say. Like I kind of had like a mentality that it was better to blend in and kind of like operate within like the crowd versus like doing something to stand out too much. So I can think of like things that I maybe didn't apply for, or I didn't go out for because I was a little scared or shy or whatever excuse I was giving myself. And then in retrospect, it's like, girl, why? Like now I feel like people get so much just clout for being different or like showing their individuality. Like those are the moments that I feel like I maybe sold myself short because I just didn't want to have to be that one standout person or be the one going against the grain. So I can look back and say, no, Nick, you shouldn't have done that. Or you should have raised your hand when you had that chance to, even if you were a little scared to do it. Or even if you were just a little hesitant that everybody was going to turn around and look at you. Like those are the moments where I could like shake myself up.
I think mine would be a little bit similar, but like creative endeavors. Like I remember being in college and like, I'm sure everybody has done this, of course, but like when the like cutting jeans came real popular, like I could do all of that. Like there were so
Oh,
many
cutting
things, like
jeans?
talents that I had. I remember one time I didn't have a job. It was like during summertime of college. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make me some money. I'm going to get my little pedicure bowl and I'm going to read up on how to make sure I can give people a good pedicure. Girl, I was doing everybody's feet like on my
Ew.
front porch. Girl, listen, like honestly, if my family's listen to this, I am a hustler. You know how many jobs I got. Like I
Yeah.
will hustle and make me some money, but there are things that I just didn't stick with. And maybe that's the Gemini in me, but I feel like I sold myself short because even though I was good at some things, I didn't take it further. Like I
Yeah.
could have learned how to sew. Like I got a sewing machine. The sewing machine stayed in my car, in my trunk for like years and years and years. I really want to learn how to play the piano. My boyfriend at the time bought me a keyboard. The keyboard was not touched, so things like that are ways that I've sold myself short. So, and it's funny because I know you and I did an exercise at the beginning of the year where we wrote down goals, and I just
Yeah.
looked at those goals like 2 days ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can check this off, check this off, check this off. And one of the goals that I had not checked off is taking piano lessons, which I have looked for piano lessons, but that's still on my list. So I wish that I wouldn't have I wish I wouldn't have sold myself short on that. As well as like another creative aspect. I can write songs, so writing music.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've sold myself short on that as well because I'm not putting myself in the position to be around other people that are doing that type of work. And I'm saying put myself in a position because typically when you're in a creative space, you need to be with other creatives to just like hype yourself up a little bit more. And it also allows you to meet other people that are doing things that you would like to do to take you to the next area. So those are my ways.
No, that's 100% true. I feel like even with like writing and stuff, I flourish when I'm like doing workshops or when I'm putting myself out there to write with other people or having to share it, like just in like groups and stuff like that. Like even doing stuff like that, like an open mic, I could think back to college being scared to go and like
Me too.
stuff. Like now I don't necessarily have that apprehension. But even then, it's still kind of like that. Well, no, let me stay in my lane, blah, blah, blah. I want to be comfortable in driving outside of, let me be on 2 lanes if I want to. Let me cross the median. Let me be a little reckless with the lanes or create my own so that I'm not like feeling like I'm having to drive the speed limit towards doing what I want to do.
Right. And I do feel like sometimes with us doing that, the holding back, is the fear of being exceptional.
Yeah.
Because it could be so life-changing if you just went full throttle. Like we watch people on TikTok and things where people like, yeah, in 2020, I was laying in my bed and I was eating ramen noodles. And then I just went hard. In 2021, I was still laying in my bed eating ramen noodles. But in 2022, like this is what happened. And then now I'm teaching classes all over the world. It's like so many times I see myself in those people, like, because you guys know I used to like do YouTube back in the day. I'm like, if I would have stuck that out, how far would I have been today? You know what I mean?
Right. Even with the blogging and stuff, like
even with the blogging,
so much.
That's so true.
Like, why did I stop doing it? I could have been one of these people getting paid for a post. I mean, we still have the time and the space and the opportunity. It's just a matter of speaking that life into that creative endeavor that you are secretly dreaming and wishing to start on.
I agree.
So how do you feel like your mental health has, I guess, progressed with you taking advantage of like the personal self-talk, the narrative, the hyping yourself up? How do you feel like that has played a part in that?
With my mental health? I mean, I guess it does not allow me to be in a negative space for long.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because there are times where it's just like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I ain't, But then you just have to remember some things. I mean, you and I were just on the phone last week and I was sad. And then a few minutes later, I was back to being myself. But it's just taking a moment, taking a step back and just, life be lifing. But I don't know.
One thing for me, and people have been saying that, like I'm an attorney. Like I'm all of my clients are like people who traditionally couldn't afford to hire a private attorney. So most times I'm dealing with like heavy situations. Like I'm dealing with
Yeah.
people losing their house. I'm dealing with people who aren't able to get a job because they record. Like everything is just like extreme. And I feel like the last couple of months I've just been internalizing everything. Like just other people's problems have been taking a great toll on just how I've been feeling, how I've been like approaching my
Right.
job, just like how I've been moving. And it's been like definitely a mental health struggle. Like it causes people to be sad. And I think people take for granted like the people that are in those type of positions, like doctors, lawyers, like people
I
really only
agree.
dealing with us because they have a problem. And people want problems solved. They don't care how you're feeling. They don't care if you're sad. They don't care if somebody passed away. They don't care if you feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things are just demands, and people will have the audacity to try to talk about you if you don't do a good job, even if the problem could be something they created themselves.
You're right.
Something that has kind of like helped me has been removing myself from the situation, not removing myself where I can't effectively help them, but like realizing that my help is just going to be my help. It's not going to be something that I'm going to have to be sick about. I'm not going to have to leave court feeling
Right.
terrible. I'm not going to have to get off the phone with somebody and wanting to cry and not be able to like continue my day on. Like I have to really think of it from a place that I can be helpful and not just absorb everybody else's emotions. That's been hard, and people have been telling me like you gotta take yourself out of it. Like don't walk in the shoes, walk next to them so you can guide them through the situation. That's ultimately
Right.
what I signed up for, not to take on every problem as if it's my own. So that just the self-talk with that, like knowing that I can hang up the phone and know that I did my best and not let it completely destroy me if the outcome isn't what
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be, that has helped a lot. And I'm team therapy too. Like I don't
Oh
have no
yeah,
problem
for sure.
saying talk to somebody or talk to a a neutral third party. Like I really feel like that's crucial, especially in this day and age where so much stuff is going on and things are so heavy. Like sometimes hyping yourself up, it worked, but you got to take that next step to get something additional outside of it. Beyonce can only do so much. Gucci
I
Man can
definitely
only do
agree.
so much. Like
Yep.
sometimes you gotta
And I
call
had that
up.
conversation with someone that I recently met, asking them if they had therapy. And they were like, oh no, I talk to God. And as a Christian, I do feel like talking to God is essential, but I also feel like God places people into roles and positions so that he can help them. And you know, I say this all the time. You see God in people. And so when I think about therapy and things of that nature, going to the doctor, it's like getting your annual, like getting you a tune up on your car or a tune up
Yeah.
on your body, you know, just checking in. And so I think it is extremely important. um you know, that could be a whole nother segment, going to
Yeah, it really
therapy
could.
and how important it is. But you're right, when the self-talk, the positive self-talk, the reinforcements are not working, you need to step into a different space and speak to someone else. So I'm all for that too. And since I have a new job, I can now start going to one of my friends' therapists that she highly recommends.
Studies and
Because
the benefits.
girl, my therapist has been well, no, I think she had a surgery, so I'm not, you know, I know everybody has things to do. She had a surgery in May, and so she was like, I'll be back in September. But your girl got a new job, so
Ooh, yay.
yeah.
I hope she okay. That's a long
Yeah, I hope
time.
she's okay too. Yeah, a
It
long
is
time.
a really long time, but I guess that kind of goes hand in hand. What I was saying, like your
Yeah, taking
profession,
care of yourself. Yep.
like you still gotta take care of you in the midst of what
Hmm.
everything else that's going on.
And I remember saying that to her because she was like, if you want to find somebody else. And I was like, no, I'll be okay, you know. But yeah.
Meanwhile, you get that backup plan because it's been a while. Sis
Girl.
FMLA, she might probably didn't expire by now. Like, still check your other resources. Like, checking to see what this new insurance is going to be talking about. I mean, I'm glad mine is very flexible with that. And
Hmm.
they do have a lot of resources for attorneys, but I feel like people just had that pride about it. Like some people get in that mindset of like, man, I'm a big time attorney. What I need to talk to somebody for? Like people just look at you and think that you had an answer to every problem. And people really have to know that it's no stigma, it's no profile of who, what, when, or you should talk to a therapist. Like it's no candidate that's the perfect one. Like it's billionaires talking to therapists. It's people that maybe don't feel comfortable going to church and like pouring out their hearts to people in the clergy, or people that know their family, or go to eat chicken with their big mama. Like sometimes you can't turn to that.
I agree. And I had an interesting conversation with a friend today. What's up, Alicia, if you're listening? But she was telling me about, a child and, feelings. And I feel like one thing that a therapist does is they allow you to feel your feelings. You know what I mean? And I always say to people, like, regardless of how you feel, that's your personal feeling. So you're allowed to feel that way. And I feel like a lot of times people don't go because they don't want to feel their feelings. They don't want to identify, I'm sad because this, I'm upset because my life changed overnight.
Yeah.
I'm this, I'm that. And I feel like as people, we just need to do a better job with that. I know I'm not a parent, but if I ever become a parent or, whatever, I'm a villager. If I ever have a child like in my presence, it's very important to ask them, how are you feeling, and to help them identify the feelings, because there's something different when you say, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm angry. These are all
the
different
actual
feelings.
words.
Exactly.
Like
use the words.
terms.
And I think that's why when I asked this person, had therapy, and they said no, it made me feel like, do you know how to address your feelings? And I feel like if you're going to start anything with anyone, you have to be sure that that person can address their feelings by name.
Yeah.
Call it out by name. Yeah.
That shying away from like your words, like that right there is so important. It's like you can't tiptoe around sadness.
You
can't tiptoe around like, okay, I feel less than today, or oh, I feel resentful, or oh, I feel angry, or whatever. Like you really have to use the words.
And it's a thin line before going into like a mental break. You know what I'm saying? So you could be praying every night, talking to God, talking to whomever, and then the next day something just happened and you're on the edge. And sometimes that's why I said you need to have that person to be able to call out those feelings and give you ways to navigate. That's the thing, the ways to navigate through those feelings. So
I know we talked about like our tool things that were in our toolbox in the first season. Hopefully the people then caught up so they have worked on having things in their toolbox. But I feel like a lot of times that neutral third party, that they can give you tools that you may not have even thought of, like just ways to process things, or ways to walk yourself through things, or ways to reframe and like look at things differently. And the stigma is so real. Like I still feel like the Black community, Black and brown people, kind of are hesitant to talk to a therapist, or even just talk about their feelings in general.
Right.
So much just cliche about how you got to be strong, or you got to do this, or you got to do that. And a lot of that leaves no room to really vocalize how you're feeling. Even telling your partner how you feel, or telling.
Girl, but you know what it stems from? I say it all the time. Slavery. All of this is effect of slavery, because you couldn't tell your partner. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you had to keep things to yourself. You couldn't tell your girlfriend that was on the field with you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just so much that stems from the effects of like slavery. It's just, it's annoying.
How can we even get past that though as a people? Is there a way to get past it?
I think the way to get past it is to have these conversations. And I feel like why it would be so hard is because you and I, we might feel like, hey, we can conversate and talk about these things, but we may have our sister and our brother that's over here and they don't see no way out, and they can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the hard part, pulling, because we all need to come into the conversation, not just us, not, those of us that have been educated, or somebody that's been well-traveled or well-spoken. We need to pull everybody in, because it's affecting all of us. It may just be affecting someone else a little bit more than others, but
yeah. And I do kind of want to circle back to something that we had talked about earlier. Just like the whole idea of like hyping yourself up or like positive self-talk and like taking a moment to just celebrate the wins.
Right.
I feel like people kind of get clowned for celebrating their wins, or people kind of get like talked about or shunned and all of that. Like talking about the good stuff is so important. I feel like it's so much easier for people to talk about the negative stuff that's going on that, you know, you kind of bite your tongue on, oh, well, this good happened, or oh, this could happen. Like I have found myself being like just very conservative. Like I would love to be shouting from the rooftops, like, bitch, I got a ring. Look at this. I'm getting married, blah, blah, blah.
Also the effects of slavery.
Of course, I knew you were gonna say that.
It is.
Because you didn't want to be too happy because then the nigga gets sold. Like
you could, right. That's why you jump in a broom that don't nobody see, you know.
Oh gosh. No, we're not doing that though.
We ain't doing that. But I feel like it's up to us to change that narrative. And I feel like, you know, you should be excited.
Child, I be over here talking
overjoyed.
About, oh, yeah. People, you want to see the ring? Okay.
I'm girl, this your moment. Right. You better savor it, because this moment, you know, is here for now. You need to savor it. You need to, I always say, you got to love out loud, and you happy. And the people that are happy for you will navigate towards you, and the people that won't, they going to fall off by the wayside. You already know that.
Well, how do you deal when people in your circle are not in a happy season? How can you show you're happy when other people are like miserable?
I think that is a hard thing for me because, and please tell me if I'm using this term incorrectly, and I feel like you may go through this in your day-to-day work. I feel like I'm an empath. So am I using it right? Empath. Am I using it right?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like, you know, even though I'm happy, if my friend is sad, I take on that sadness. Like this week has been really, really heavy. Like I've had some friends that have lost close family members. You know, I lost a close family member. And so with that, I don't even really know how to navigate. Like, I just started a new job. I'm a little bit excited about that. Right. I'm excited about the opportunity they could bring. But if someone has just lost somebody that they love, I don't even know how to say, I can't even change the subject, to be honest with you. Like, I'm stuck in trying to be that person for them. And then if it's just a person that's just like a hater or whatever that I still have in my life, that's just never going to be happy for anything, you know, that's a problem too, because now you're reluctant to share anything good with that person.
I know.
It becomes surface level.
Yeah. I'm very much so praying that I shed my last hater last year. I'm hoping that.
You sure last year? Not this year.
I'm hoping. Like I said.
That's an off conversation topic, but okay.
Right. But yeah, you know what? You're right. But like, I guess I could say that I hope that I'm slowly shedding those who would be deemed haters, even if they secret haters, quiet haters, or hating from the background.
Right.
Because I feel like even if somebody is going through something bad, you still should be able to like celebrate. Like, damn, okay, your friend just had a baby, but yeah, this went bad too. But okay, the baby's still here. Yay, whoopee whoopee. Yeah. Like, I don't feel like people should have to bite their tongue, but it's so easy to do that. Like, I feel myself struggling. Like, if I know I have a friend who has been having relationship difficulties or something like that, I find myself not wanting to talk about my relationship. Right. Like, I find myself changing the subject, or I find myself like really just trying to like fade to black when it comes to those type of conversations, just because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or I don't want to seem like I'm bragging or like I'm
insensitive. Yeah. Right. I feel you on that. But if I'm talking to someone and I may have a friend that's not talking to a guy, like I'm excited because it's new. It's a new stage. But this person might be like, well, nobody's on to me. It's like, well, hey, I don't want to say nothing. I can't be excited, you know, because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Them a hater? Is that making them a hater because they can't celebrate with you? Or is that like,
I'm going to say no. I feel like, you know, people that's going to be a hater because they don't just hate on you talking to somebody. They hate on some other things too. So that's going to be no. It could be a small indicator, but
that's what I'm trying to shed. Like the people that you know that's going to be that way, like they need to be like lotioning of the ash. They need to be like the ash that's getting melted away with the cocoa butter. Like they need to be the ones that you're trying to get rid of. Like
I agree, but then you have to re-examine what that friendship is built on. Like for me, I was just having this conversation too. Is like, is this friendship being built on a trauma bond?
Oh,
You know what I'm
God.
saying? And I feel like I may have something that may have been built on a trauma bond, because
Welcome to college.
when things happen, it's like, oh, that's just how that person is. But if I'm growing, and you should be growing as well, I shouldn't
Yeah.
still be saying that's just how that person is.
But
you
the
know?
people that were in your life when you were down and now that something happened good, it's like, oh, you changing. Oh, you don't want to,
Right.
you ain't down with the team no more. You ain't trying to
Right.
go out. Like, I definitely had that happen. But even with that, it's like, dang, I don't, it's like a thin line, I guess, like between bragging, like even the people that's posting stuff online all the time, are they bragging or are they just happy? Are you genuinely
Right.
wanting to share
Right.
something? Like, how are we reframing that? Like, let me tell you a testimony or something. Like, how are we going about doing that? Like that difference, that thin line, I feel like it's something that maybe everybody haven't figured out.
I agree. And I feel like, that's a whole little quote we could put on social media. Allow people to be happy. Allow people to celebrate.
Yeah.
And let's take it a step further. Allow Black people to be happy. Allow Black people to celebrate, because other people be celebrating, whether they got haters or not.
Yeah.
They be celebrating. And sometimes I feel like, sometimes, as you mentioned, we do it to ourselves. Like,
do white people have haters? Do they think that they have haters, or are you blaming that on slavery also? Like, are we thinking that we have haters?
I have like 3 white friends. I don't know.
I could have a hater. Like, I don't know.
I could ask one of the 3 of them.
You know what? Question to pose for a white listener. Do y'all have haters? Do y'all have conversations where your friends are not happy for you when you're winning?
I think they do, because I think that's a people thing. I don't think it's a race thing. I think it's a people thing. But I do feel like
we won't blame that one on slavery.
We won't blame that one. I feel like for us, some of these conversations is more prevalent to us as Black people, because the people around us are typically all Black.
For the most part.
Because my friendships aren't 50-50. So I don't have 50% of friends from different ethnicities and backgrounds.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I did at one point, but I think that dwindled down with the HBCU life. But I don't remember people being like, oh my God, I have a hater. Like, did Sarah have haters?
But see, you probably didn't notice that when you were so young, right? I mean, it may not have even been you had haters back in the day?
It was people hating.
Dang. I mean, okay. Well,
when you have a lot of stuff and like socioeconomical differences causes a lot of hate. Shoot, my friend Jamaica's talking about her little girl having difficulty at school because of that. So yeah, I do. You can't have a hater at 5. Like, it's possible. Wow. But I guess it depends. Like, are the people at the school that you're going to, are they all similarly situated like you? Or
so basically, we got to start this positive self-talk early at 5.
Tell your
you know what I'm saying? You got to tell your kids, right? And you know what's funny about, well, not funny, but I find this to be unique, because everybody saw that, the Little Mermaid is going to be coming out or whatever. And there was this little girl, all the videos going around. And as soon as like Ariel's face showed up and she was a Black girl, she was like, Mom, Black girl magic, Black girl magic. I don't know if you saw that one, but the mom, because I'm nosy, I be reading in the comments, and the mother was just like, ever since, I think she was only 2. But she was like, when we read books, at the end, I make her say affirmations, and I make her say, like, I am Black girl magic. So, like, when she sees that, she called it to herself, basically.
You is kind, you is smart,
you is important.
You is important. And I do believe that starts as a child. Like, you better be telling a baby, you're so cute. You're so great. Like, give my dog, even Pepper, giving it positive affirmations. Good boy, good boy. Like, true. You have to constantly affirm and remind people that they're doing a good job, so they don't forget, because the world will have you out there thinking something wrong with you.
Oh, that's like that ghetto song on social media. Be you doing a good job. Be you doing a good job. That's a hype song too.
I don't know that song, but
it's a curse word. You never heard that?
I never heard that song.
I'll have to send it to you.
Text it to me offline. I'll put that on my Hype Me Up playlist. But no, I do think it starts young, girls and boys. Because even the men need to have life spoken into them. They have to be able to tell themselves that that N-word or whatever you want to say to hype yourself up. Like, that starts young. We don't need to start doing it at 30. It's middle school. Like, have your little girl leaving the house knowing that she is that girl. don't let the world tell somebody that they not before they even get to form the opinion on their own of who they should be. Like, put that in their mind early.
And when I think about it in like relationship form, to me, if I were in a relationship, it's like, this is my teammate. Like when you on the team, you hyping up the person that's coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So at all times, like, listen, if you ain't got nobody else in your corner, I'm riding for you. Like I'm hyping you up. You got this. You got this meet and Fallon. You got this going on. You could do it. So you are so right about that. And if you ain't hyping your boo up and your little kids up, you better than me because I'm going to hype mine up.
Okay. Look at you trying to slide in a "you better than me" moment.
I slid it in.
Is that the first one of season 2?
It's the first one of season 2.
You better than me if you letting the world tell your man he the bomb and you ain't telling him yourself.
Right. You better than me if you going on a first date with somebody and you ain't even surprising them with flowers. Because I did that for a man. And now I did.
Not you're on a whole other topic.
Yeah, but you should also do that, women. Like, it was affirming because I read somewhere that it said men only get flowers when they die. And I was like, that's sad. And when he got the flowers, he was like, nobody's ever given me flowers. It's like, because I'm that beast. So I hype myself up too in that moment. Because I'm that chick, baby.
You want some flowers? Look, let me
don't tell him. Just bring them one day.
Just bring them.
Have him delivered to his job. Like, these for you.
I feel like if I did that, they probably would be like, "Oh, boss, what's up with this, boss? What you doing?"
They gonna do that, but guess what? They gonna be so hyped though, and he gonna still be feeling good on the inside because his boo got it for him. Like, this guy is still talking about me getting him them $5 flowers. No lie. He was like, "You the only girl that did it." And so listen how I played it. I had the flowers, and I was like, "Oh, I brought you flowers." And he was like, "You brought me flowers?" He was like, "Well, I don't have no vase." I said, "I knew you wouldn't have a vase. So I brought that too." Boom. Listen.
I don't know. I ain't never did that. But
you ain't single no more, but still get your boo some flowers while he living.
You right.
And hype him up.
Some flowers. And see how he respond. Like, baby, look at this. I got you some daisies, honey. Hilarious. But no, that's real talk. That's real talk, Kristin. I think that even the men need it. So all the men that are listening, if your woman ain't speaking life into you or telling you how to work on your positive self-talk, trade her in for a new model. No, I'm just kidding. Don't trade her. That's not the direction we're taking. We're not a relationship podcast. It's not like that. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm just trying to tell you what I wouldn't do. And you better than me if you're doing some of the things that I wouldn't do. But anyways, I think that's what you gonna hype yourself up on? Like, what are we leaving the people with? You've already told them that you better than them on some things.
Right now, I'm hyping myself up on my little fitness journey, knowing that I can do it. I'm going to start incorporating like some classes in, but I've been pushing myself on my walks with my dogs. We just hit 2.9 miles, and it may not be a lot to some people, but it's a lot to me. So I'm going to continue to hype myself up on that and watch these inches just fall off.
Okay, then, inches. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to hype myself up to be more excited about sharing my anticipation to be Mrs. Vaughn.
Woo!
And not worried about like people feeling any type of way because the relationships or whatever they're in haven't panned out how they want them to be. So maybe the happy can inspire instead of people thinking I'm bragging out here.
Girl, tell them what I told my job. It's your time. And when it's your time and when it's your season, what's for you isn't going to pass you by. So right now it's just your season. So I really, as a friend, I really want you to live out loud and love out loud with this, because this is going to be one of the most exciting times of your life. So take that from me. I'm going to hype you up on that. And if I was you, I'd be posting every week.
We'll see about it. Okay. I'm still a private Scorpio. We don't need people in our business like that. But anywho, thank you guys for rocking with us, and welcome back to the You Better Than Me podcast. We are looking forward to bringing more topic, more tea, more all the things in between to y'all, the people. And, holler at us next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You Better Than Me is a podcast on Pyro Media Network, produced by Pyro Media Productions. Pyro Media Network and Pyro Media Productions are subsidiaries of Pyro Media Enterprises. For more information, please visit www.pyromedianetwork.com. Thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next.